Thank you to our host, alumnus Stone Freeman, class of 2019. We're very lucky to have him lead us today as he's currently enrolled as a graduate student, pursuing a master's degree in communication studies. He'll kick off our program now.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Amy. Yeah, I'm very excited to be here. Again, I'm a couple months away from being a two-time alumnus from the University of Rhode Island. So it is very exciting to be joined by all of you today, to be joined by a couple of our flagship programs at the University of Rhode Island that have brought home a lot of hardware over the last couple of years. So I'm excited to talk to all of you today. But while we're still, everybody's kind of getting in here, if you guys want to go on down to the chat bubble at the bottom of your screen. And why don't you drop your name if you're an alumnus of the University of Rhode Island. You can feel free to put what year you graduated from, and then maybe where you're Zooming from today. Again, we're kind of all over the world and the globe and the country for Rhode Island Rams. So go ahead and tell us where you're coming from. And then we're all here for a reason, right? Tell us what you love most about maybe the sports that we're talking about today, the University of Rhode Island. Just get us engaged as to who you are, what brings you here, and where you're coming from. I too also want to extend safety and health to everybody here. Again, we are in chaotic times right now, hence why we're doing this virtually and over Zoom. But again, we're really pleased to have you all here, and we're wishing you health and safety over the next couple months, certainly. But on a lighter note, we have a couple trivia questions to start off with today to, again, get everybody kind of moving around here virtually, so to speak. And whoever gets these trivia questions right, you're going to put it right in the chat too. So I'll give a couple more seconds for people to identify where they're coming from. But we'll rattle off a couple of these, what we're calling rapid fire trivia questions. If you think you know the answer, drop it into the chat bubble. And then the first person that Amy sees with the correct answer is going to get some prizes. We have some cool prizes for everybody that wins. That'll be shipped right to you. So how's that for convenience? We'll get you guys some. I'm sure we'll show you later, but there's some good stuff. We were talking about it before we get on here with everybody. So I'm really excited to see those too. But first, we'll start off with what I call a softball question. I don't know. It might just be because I'm a huge URI fan. Don't get that mistaken with softball. As that's not one of the programs we're talking about today, but rather an easy question I'm going to loft up for you. Hopefully you can hit this one out of the park. But what year was the University of Rhode Island founded? That's the first question we're going to ask. If you know the answer to that question, I can see our chat bubble is really lighting up down there. People tuning in from Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, Cleveland, Ohio. I think we already have an answer there, Amy. So we'll see who won that. I think it's Ken, right? It might be Ken that got that one right. So it is. And the correct answer, 1892. So Ken got that one right. Again, we'll identify both programs too. We're talking about the women's rowing program today, and then of course the women's track and field and cross country program. So we'll go with the rowing question. How many Atlantic 10 championships has the rowing program won at the University of Rhode Island? Another good one. We still get some people telling us where they're tuned in from, but if you know the right answer to that question, again, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get a prize. So I see one answer, but unfortunately, it's not the answer. Oh, 6 isn't the answer. I'll give you the hint. You're both really close. Kind of just gave it away. There we go. A couple of them have popped up there. In my chat, it looks like Dan is the winner there. He got the right one. Amy's got the same as me. Excellent. All right, now we'll switch it up here a bit. This is more of a history question, but we'll see if you can get this one right. Frederick D. Tuttle was hired in 1925 as a coach of which sport? Which sport? I'm a big Tuttle fan. I believe he was an Olympic gold medalist too. We haven't gotten the right answer in there yet, but Coach Tuttle, of course, the namesake of one of our buildings on campus too. We're still waiting for the correct answer. I see volleyball, basketball, football, swimming, but there's one more correct answer we haven't gotten yet. There it is. All right, now we got a couple of them coming through. And did Ken get that one too? Is Ken on a roll? No, there's one before him. I got to scroll up here. All right, then it might be.
Ken was first, but to be fair to everyone, if you've answered one trivia question and gotten a prize, the next person to enter gets the prize. So it looks like I'll have to scroll up and see.
All righty, so we'll find the the winner for the last one there. But again, that was to kind of get everybody engaged. We're going to give you guys some time later to ask some questions for the student athletes and the coaches present. But that was just a fun opportunity to kind of get us rolling here. Again, we have two of the most successful programs on our campus with us today, women's rowing and then the women's track and field and cross country programs. We're pleased to be joined by, from the rowing team, head coach Shelagh Donohoe. So welcome, Coach Shelagh. She's giving you guys a wave. And then two captains from the team, Katie Castle and Emily Winslow, are both joining us here today too. So two student athletes from the University of Rhode Island women's rowing team. On our other program, it's the women's track and field and cross country teams. We have head coach Laurie Feit-Melnick, who is with us today. Coach, giving us a wave. There we are. And then two captains from that program as well, Lotta Black and Kelly McDonald. So they're with us today, two student athletes from the women's track and field and cross country programs. With that, a little bit of an introduction. I'll kick it over to Coach Shelagh, who can, she'll have a couple minutes to talk to you guys too. Coach, take it away.
Hi. Wow, a couple of minutes. Wow, I better go quick. First, I want to thank everybody for coming. It's great to see so many faces from so many different parts of me and the program. So thanks everybody for logging on. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about the what's going on. I think with this whole COVID thing, it's definitely been different. But I have to say that the athletes are doing a fantastic job. They've been following all the procedures. We've been going out every morning. We started out in doubles. We were doing so well with our COVID numbers that we moved up to fours. And we've been having a lot of great inter-squad competition. So I'm really psyched on where we are. I have to say, for this time of year, I think this is probably one of the fastest crews I've had in such a hard time, in such a different time. And I think all the athletes are doing a great job. And, that's to Emily's credit and Katie and a couple of other captains that are really leading the team. So off of that, I don't want to talk too long. And I know that you might have questions for me later. I'd rather hand it off to the captains so you can hear from the athletes themselves. So captains, it's all yours.
Hello, I'm Katie Castle. I'm a sophomore on the women's rowing team. I just want to kind of go off of what Coach said. We're having an amazing time during COVID and everything, all these restrictions. We're really persevering. I was just a part of an amazing practice this morning out on the water. We did 2Ks, if anyone is familiar with that. We did 2Ks out on the water, racing five boats across, all the way across, straight down. It was awesome. We're getting one step faster and closer to our goals every single day. And for me personally, that goal is definitely to dominate the 8-10 championship and lead this team to the NCAAs. And I am so excited, and I definitely think we're right there. And one key person in that is definitely Emily Winslow, who will also speak.
Hi, everyone. I'm Emily Winslow. I'm a grad student getting my MBA. I'm from Hanover, New Hampshire, and this is my 5th year on the team. I'm really lucky enough to have more time with the team after the pandemic. So I'm excited to have another year and to get another chance to see some of the younger people on the team grow and look at this year's freshmen who are really fast and they're learning really quickly. And just to share some of my favorite memories on the team, I think my favorite memory so far was my junior year when we had a clean sweep at A10s, which meant we got to go to NCAAs and all boats won their flights at A10s. And that was super exciting because it was just, it showed how much hard work we'd put in, and really everyone equally contributes to a championship. And it's not just one boat or one seat, it's everyone. And that was really special for me. And just like Katie said, my goal for this season is to go to the NCAAs. So to win A10s, to sweep A10s again would be great. It's really up in the air, like what racing is going to look like. So I'm really hoping that the spring will be a little bit more structured with races. But given that, I really want to get to NCAAs and break the top 18, which would be really exciting for the program and everyone on the team, since I've seen so many people growing and working hard as athletes.
Excellent. Thank you, Emily. With that, that's the student athletes from the rowing program here, and of course, Coach Shelagh. And let's hear now from the head coach of the women's track and field team, Coach Laurie. How are you today? And why don't you can share about your program for a couple minutes.
Sure. Hi, Stone. I don't know if everyone can see, but I've got my stopwatch so I don't talk too long. And I'm excited to be here. I just wanted to thank everyone for taking the time to be on this Zoom on it's a rainy day in Rhode Island, and taking the time and supporting our programs. Once again, thank you so much for all the support during the Day of Giving event as well. It makes a huge difference in the lives of our student athletes, your support and continued support of our programs. Let's see. So we started practice on September 21st, and we've been trying to stay outside as much as possible. Obviously, we are a huge team. We have 57 women right now on the team, and that sprints, jumps, throws, hurdles, distance, mid-distance, many different event groups. So if we can stay outside as long as we can, it's wonderful. But we are fortunate to have the indoor Mackle Fieldhouse as well. And, life is different, being everyone knows, and it's been, I think, a challenge, obviously, with having the outdoor season cut short and being in March at the indoor NCAA championships with Lata and finding out the day before that the meet was canceled. So there's been so much that has gone on from March until now, but we're all staying positive. I know the team and the coaching staff is thrilled to be practicing and obviously staying safe and following all the COVID guidelines by the state and URI. But we've been told by the Atlantic 10 that we will be competing this indoor starting January. There is a plan, definite, that they said that we will have the indoor Atlantic 10 championships on February 27th and 28th. The interesting thing that they have, the Atlantic 10 quite a while back had canceled all fall sports and moved the fall sports to the spring. So the interesting thing is that cross country will be now moved to the winter/spring. It is. So that's kind of like we're running indoor at the same time as cross country, which will be interesting, but we can make everything work. I feel like as long as you've got flexibility and you kind of have to stay flexible with everything going on in our world, then that's very important, even as a coach and as an athlete, obviously. But so we should be going to our indoor Atlantic 10 championships on February 27th and 28th. Then the next weekend, March 5th, we will be heading to the cross country Atlantic 10 championships in Virginia. And after that weekend, the NCAAs for indoor are held March 12th and 13th in Arkansas, Fayetteville. And then that Monday, March 15th, are the NCAA cross country championships in Stillwater, Oklahoma. So it'll be interesting. And I always say there really aren't limitations unless you put limitations in your own mind. So we'll, who knows, right? Lots, if you're on this call, maybe we'll be heading to Arkansas and then 3 hours down the road driving to Stillwater. So we've got a lot to look forward to. We have a huge team with so much diversity. And I know there has been, like I've said before, it's been a challenge with everything going on in our country with social justice and with the pandemic. So we just have a huge team coming from all different backgrounds and diversity. And it's a wonderful group that comes together. And I can tell everyone about the indoor championships. We had an amazing indoor championships last February. But I think it's important that you hear from the captains right now, and I can talk later, but we've got 2 of the 6 captains on this call. And we've got Kelly, who is a 5th-year, 2nd-year track and field captain. She's from Queens, New York. She can tell you a little bit more. She's a Knies major, 200, 400 runner. And we've got Lotta Black on this call, who's a grad student, finished undergrad in 3 years. She's in her 2nd year of grad school, and she is from Wissahickon, right, Lotta? Wissahickon High School in Ambler, PA. She runs the 800 all the way up to cross country. So I think instead of me babbling on, why don't we go ahead and talk to the most important people on this call, the captains.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you. Kelly.
Hello, everyone. My name's Kelly. I'm currently a 5th year at URI, and I am so blessed that I was given the opportunity to run a 5th year and to have another season after everything happened with Corona. I finished my first major in kinesiology last year, and I'm currently pursuing a degree in writing. I'm set to graduate this May in 2021. I'm a sprinter on the track team, and my main events are the 400 and 200. I would say my favorite memory with the team is definitely after any championship meet, whether it be A10s or New England's, just because of the team atmosphere and mainly how proud we all are of each other. My personal goal for this upcoming season is to podium in all of my events and hopefully to make nationals for the 4x4 and just to have our team overall do well.
Thanks, Kelly. Hi, everyone. I'm Lata, and so I finished my kinesiology degree, as Coach said, undergrad from URI in 3 years. And so like my 4th year, I was still able to be competing, but I was also in grad school. This year is my 2nd year of grad school, so I'm set to graduate in 2021. I run anything from the 800 up. This year definitely has been different than most years, but I'm glad to have my teammates at least to be interacting with, even though we're in pods and it's kind of weird. I'm glad that we have that, and I'm hoping to make more memories. Just like last year when we went to cross country regionals, it was really exciting to have like a whole team there to really compete with one another. My goal for kind of this year is to even now to like find races on the track, to get the motivation back like to the whole team, and to continue spreading positivity. And Coach, as you can tell, she knows what she's doing. She plans ahead. But I'm glad all of you are interested in how everything's going, and thank you for all of your support.
Great, that was excellent. Good to hear from both coaches here, some of the student athletes of these great programs and students at our university. So thank you all for introducing yourselves there, giving us a little bit of background. Of course, this is a Q&A though. We want to hear from you guys too. So we'll open up some type of Q&A now. If you have questions, drop them in the chat. I'll ask the first one to kind of break the ice here and give you guys some time to type it out. But one reoccurring answer, or rather explanation, from both coaches and student athletes here was team. And then Coach Laurie had talked about it a little bit more in depth, how there's a lot going on in our country right now, right? There's an election year, there's social injustice, there's the pandemic that's been ongoing since March now. And the question that I'll pose for both coaches here to start off would be, how important is team in general, but in particular during a time like this, being able to have your student athletes with so many friends, you know, to a certain degree, sisters that they can kind of rely on?
Oh, you want me to talk first, or Shelagh, you want to talk?
Take it, Laurie.
I mean, I'm sure Shelagh, you'll agree. I mean, the team, it's all about team. You know, there's that silly saying, there's no I in team, but it's so important that we all support one another. I feel it's really, really super hard on the freshmen because this is a very different kind of year and not a normal year, as we know. Not only on the freshmen, it's hard on everyone, but it's hard. We can't do all the team bonding type of things that we would like to do, all the type of community service, which we've done in the past. We usually have a high school meet in January. We have a huge clinic. Well, that won't happen this year, unfortunately. You can't have 176 kids running around Mackle Fieldhouse. But we totally believe in team. We're doing the best that we can and trying to reach out in small groups. I have a former athlete who is a sports psychologist, so I have her working with the team, and she's amazing because also one thing that we know is with everything going on in our country, in our world, you know, there's a lot of mental stress and mental anxiety and stress not having a season. So it's amazing. We have Marissa Norman that's helping us, and she's a sports psychologist. And obviously we have all the resources on our campus, but it's all about team and the friendships that you make forever. They'll be your friends. And like Stone, you said, your sisters for life.
Yeah, I mean, I think to add on to what Laurie has to say, I think team is more important than ever this year. You know, I think it's when the rowers come to practice, it's the most consistent thing that they can count on. You know, it's every morning, every day, rain or shine, and it's consistent. And I think in this time where so many things change and they change every day, one thing they can count on is coming to practice, getting in the boat, working hard, being with their teammates. And I think that consistency is really important. And I think that's something that sport is definitely giving the women here, you know, the women here in the Zoom call and also on the team, you know, so I think team is really important. If I'm to get into the more details of it, I mean, for us, team is really important because with the NCAAs, you have to have 2 8s and a 4. And all 3 of those boats have to do well. So you can't just have one fast 8. So you have to make sure that you're bringing your teammates up. And as the captain said, that's what they're doing. We're doing a lot of mixed boats right now. And, you know, and the freshmen are learning really quick because they're being put in boats with, you know, people like Emily and Katie. And they have to put their seatbelts on and get ready and go, you know, and there's no better way to learn than to get in there with people who are probably a little stronger than you, have much more experience than you, and have been in more races. So I think that they're doing a great job in bringing up the younger group. And, you know, so team in the rowing sense is important because the fastest team in the country won't get invited to NCAAs if the second boat and third boat aren't fast. So.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
Great answers. We do have, again, you guys can drop your questions in the chat. One did pop up while Coach was answering. And Dan wants to know if there's any word on when the league will decide on the fate of spring racing, the spring racing season for you guys. Is there any word from the Atlantic 10 there?
You know, I talked to somebody at the Atlantic 10 and everything's still a go. And that's how we're looking at it. And we're going to be ready. We're going to be prepared for it no matter what, you know, and right now it's a go. And so we're training for that, you know. I mean, I think that's the only thing we can do. And these guys are psyched. They're doing a great job. So we'll keep it rolling.
Yeah, there's a follow-up question along the same lines here in the chat from Lucy, and she wants to know, have you been able to get into the 8s this season, or has COVID affected the way that you're making lineups?
Oh, hi, Lucy. I'm so psyched you're on. You know what?
Hi, Kayla.
Hi, Lucy. It's so good to see you. You know what? We have not been in the 8s. The novices are out in the 8s because the 4s are, as you know, Lucy, a little bit harder for the brand new walk-ons. But we've been going out in the 4s, and the 4s, and I know, Lucy, you know the answer to this, but I'll explain it to everybody else. If you can row a small boat like a 4 well, you can row an 8 well. So we've been going out in the 4s, and they're a little harder boat to set up. They're a little harder boat to row. So we're getting pretty good at rowing in the 4s. And as I said, there's a lot of inter-squad competition because it's not an 8. We're separating. We have 5 4s, and we're out there every day duking it out. And you know what? We can go out in the 8s. We can do that. The numbers are there for us, like the COVID numbers, that we can be in groups of 15. So we can go out in the 8, but I think just to be on the safe side, we're sticking to 4s. Plus, I think it's better for our training. And we have a lot of coxswains, and we're getting all those coxswains out. And we have a lot of young coxswains. And so going out and doing all these pieces is making them better pretty quick.
Excellent. Great question so far. I'm just going to switch over to track and field for a second. And Coach Taylor kind of touched upon it, though, with some of the COVID conversation. But for Coach Laurie, you mentioned it have a big squad this year, a big team. That seems to be the one thing about COVID is it's preventing us from being in large groups. How has that maybe affected you guys as a program? Are you still practicing the same amount of people in the field house at the same time, or did you have to split them into groups? How has that been going for you guys?
Well, pretty much, you know, we've been trying to stay outside as much as possible. So if we have about 10 throwers, 12 throwers, they're outside. My distance, we've been pretty much staying outside. On a cold, rainy day, the sprinters, hurdles, jumpers have moved inside. So I should say at this point, we have not all been in the indoor facility yet at the same time. We're still trying to stay in our pods of 5. We can increase our pods. If you increase your pod, then, there's just a risk if something were to happen, then the pod has to shut down and you can't practice. So we're doing the best we can. We have to be flexible. Still trying to stay outside, like I said, as long as possible. And I mean, the one thing that I do know, like regarding our indoor A10 championship, they have reduced the numbers that we're allowed to take to that meet. We originally would be allowed to take 32 student athletes to an indoor A10 championships, and now they've reduced that to 26. So we are not going to be going to the same type of meets that we have in the past when we would go, or when we would host a meet here where we'd have 12 or 14 teams. It's going to look different. It's going to be very different. If we go to a BU meet, it's not going to be the numbers that we've seen in the past. But we just want to compete safely, obviously, and it's interesting because track and field, I guess we're considered an individual sport, but as Kelly and Lawton know, and everyone else, I mean, it takes a team to win a championship. Last indoor, we had a phenomenal meet. We hosted the indoor A10 championships. We were third. We were only 17 points out of the win and 3.5 out of second. So it takes all events, scoring, contributing. It takes a team of women buying in, and it's all about the team.
Excellent. Again, great answers. Before we go on, because I do see that we have some more questions in the chat. I'm getting word that we are going to be joined by a special guest now in this program. So I'm waiting to see them pop in the chat here, but there's a special guest going to join us. I can hear him. There we go. He wants to hear some. Anybody want to sing along with him?
Rhode Island born and Rhode Island bred. I'll be Rhode Island dead. Poets go Rhode Island, Rhode Island, Rhode Island, URI. Go Rhody.
That was great. Henry too. Great job, Henry. I'm going to clap it up for Henry there. And Rhody, of course, too. But Henry, excellent. Love that. But yeah, that was our special guest tonight. We had Rhody the Ram join us. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, we can continue to move towards some more questions here if we have some more. That was a good way to break it up here a little bit. If you do have some questions though, feel free to drop them into the chat. We also have a couple more trivia questions too that we can ask too. So before we go on, let's actually start there. So again, you got to be quick on your keyboards here, because the first person to answer with the correct answer is going to get some prizes. So this is a really good question. Who is considered the legendary voice of the Rams? This is a really good one. The voice of the Rams. See if anybody can get it. Henry got it. Wow, Henry's on a roll. He says Norman. That would be Jim Norman, was the original voice of the Rhode Island Rams, both men's basketball and football, but also a great contributor to the University of Rhode Island, serving as a sports information director is his time on campus. So yes, Henry wins that one there. We have another rowing question now here. How many times has the rowing team competed in England's famed Henley Women's Regatta? How many times have our Rams been featured over there? Let's see. We're getting close. Oh, yes. I think we got a couple. Somebody said twice. That's Dan. Dan got it right. Yes, that's twice our team, our rowing program has been in that regatta. So that's another good one. Excellent job there. Let's get this last trivia question here. Name the first woman in URI program history to finish first at an Atlantic 10 cross country championship. This is a very good question. Oh, and Destiny got it. Ada is the answer. Ada Black, who is in the our chat here, we get to hear from her. We'll get to hear from her again. She is the first woman in URI program history to finish first at the Atlantic 10 cross country championship. But I do have a bonus question that goes along the lines of that. What year did Lada come in first in the cross country championship for the conference? 2019. Yes, a couple people have said it. I know Ken has won. Destiny won. So Joe would be the winner there, 2019. So congratulations. Those are our winners. So those are some trivia questions for you. Again, very, very, very cool to come out of. We get to see Rhody the Ram, get to learn some trivia. Excellent job. Excellent job to the winners. And again, you'll be getting contacted by Amy to get some prizes and whatnot. So excellent job. Let's continue to move forward here with Q&A. We'll switch over to some questions for the student athletes now. I want to start off here. I'll start with the first one, then we'll go right back to the chat. But with the exception of, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but with the exception of Katie, all three other student athletes here are pursuing a second degree at the University of Rhode Island now. So I think that'd be a good place to start. You know, what for either Kelly, Lada, or Emily, what has drawn you back to the University of Rhode Island? Of course, with COVID and whatnot, extra years of eligibility, I'm sure that's contributed, but why stay here at the University of Rhode Island to pursue a second degree? That's for any of you guys that want to take that one.
I guess I can answer that.
Sure.
So I was thinking about getting my graduate degree at some point, and I was sort of torn between a master's of communication because while I was here as an undergrad, I majored in public relations and English, or an MBA. And I thought long and hard about it. I got a lot of feedback from friends and things. And I ended up going with the MBA just because I didn't really have, as an undergrad, I never really took classes regarding marketing or like economics or something like that, which is also an area that interests me and that I think would help me in my career after I'm done with school. So that's how I decided what degree I wanted to get. And as far as coming back for the sport, I want to continue rowing after I'm done with school. And I love the team, and I sort of felt like I had unfinished, like I had an unfinished potential, and I can still help build the team and learn from the rowers on the team. URI rowing has taught me so much that I was really happy that I could have the opportunity to come back.
Excellent. Either Kelly or Lada, do you guys want to answer that one too?
I can go. Kind of like the same thing. I was gonna have to go back to school once I graduated to do a couple of extra classes because I'm gonna go to PA, hopefully get into PA school and become a physician's assistant. The reason I was definitely drawn to come back though, for the main part, was definitely to finish out my eligibility. I was a walk-on on the team, and each year I just kept seeing improvements and I got better. So I just felt like there was a lot of like unfinished business to do, and I just am really excited to finish out my track career at URI, right where I started.
Excellent. That's really cool. Lada, you don't have to answer, but if you'd like to chime in here too.
Honestly, like the cards kind of just lined up the right way. I mean, I graduated in 3 years with my bachelor's, and it was like, stay here, keep going. So that's what I did, and I'm really happy that that's the decision that I made.
Excellent, excellent. Really, really cool. Again, feel free to drop some questions in the chat. I know that Coach Shelagh has been answering some as we go too, so forgive me if I'm not skipping over any. I just know that some are getting answered for you all. But we do have a couple more minutes here for questions, so feel free to continue to ask. Again, I think we can kind of stick with the student athletes here on this one, but because we proposed almost the same question towards the coaches. But how has COVID affected you guys training? Maybe if you reflect back to March when everybody was kind of sent home early, but how has the pandemic affected training and getting ready for a season?
I definitely know that the rowing team, it is quite dicey to try to figure out ways to row in which you're 6 feet apart and you are not next to someone who's been exposed. But I think our coaches have done an amazing job keeping us bubbled. We're staying within our home group. So I live in a house with 3 other rowers, and we stayed in a pod for the beginning of practices. And I really think that helped. We all transitioned greatly. We're all following the rules perfectly. And I think even, getting onto the water, we do bleach our oar handles. We make sure everything's clean. We wash our hands. We socially distance while we're stretching, warming up. And it's just overall great. I think actually for the rowing team, there's definitely, we had some bumps if we could have hit them, but I think we went right past them and we're soaring through it. And I think it's great so far. Yeah.
That's excellent. Do either one of the track and field athletes want to answer that one too? How has COVID kind of affected training and getting ready for the upcoming seasons?
I think that luckily track is a sport where you can train on your own. And I think a lot of people just assume like, oh, you can just run on your own. It's like not a huge deal. But I think definitely coming back to school, like even though COVID happened all the way back in March and most of us had went home and we'd been training over the summer, I think coming back to school, you can see how our training has improved and how a lot of us are getting more fit just because we have like the more motivation back and our teammates to kind of rely on each other. If we're feeling down, we can just go talk to someone. Or if we're having a bad run, there's always someone to turn to. So that's definitely a lot better. And again, like rowing, we're taking all the precautions that we have to be taking, and we're just dealing with the circumstance as it is rather than letting the circumstance like bring us down.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, I'm sure this is unprecedented times for everybody, but trying to train and continue to perform at a high level could certainly be challenging, especially for student athletes here. I want to ask a question to both head coaches again, because both of you have been here at the University of Rhode Island for a while now. Coach Shelagh has been here for 15 years. Coach Laurie has been here for 29 years. Again, 2 consistent programs that are competing at the top of the Atlantic 10 Conference. What is not so much kept you at Rhode Island, but what is special about Rhode Island? What about the university, maybe your teams, keep you going every day to continue to come back to work?
Shelagh, you going first?
Sure, I'll go first. We have a great group of athletes. The athletes are definitely the reason why I stay at Rhode Island. I think it's just a great group of athletes, and they're hardworking, and that's the motivating force for me. The river is really nice. It's a great body of water to row on. The location of Rhode Island's really good too. I mean, besides it's probably the most beautiful state in the country, and we're lucky to be here. I feel like it's centrally located for rowing. The Northeast has always been a big hub for rowing, and we're smack in the middle of it. So that's a big reason why I've stayed. And and I feel like we've had success. I feel like we've gotten more support since I've gotten here. And I'll have to say, go off of Laurie, like day of giving really helped us. It allows us to almost get a new boat every year, which rowing, the equipment's very expensive. A new 8 costs, oh God, it's over $40,000 for a new 8. A new 4 cost over $26,000. A new oar costs $370. and I have a lot of oars, a lot of people, a lot of boats. So I feel like I have gotten more support, and I feel like I've built a great relationship with the community. We're at the town in Narragansett. We row off their property, and I feel like we've had a great relationship with them. And besides that, I feel like a lot of, I've met a lot of great people, and a lot of people who are on this call, who have become supporters of the program, but more importantly, friends to me. And I feel like, that I want to stay here because I have that. And I think it takes a long time to build that. And, so I'm pretty happy here.
I guess I'll speak because Shelagh, that really just sums it all up. And you have done an amazing job with your program and your time here. Basically, it's hard to believe 29. I was young then when I was hired. Lauren Anderson is on this call, I believe, right, Lauren? And you hired me 29 years ago with Ellie Lemaire when I remember in my interview. And it's crazy how the years fly by. Each year is different. Each group of student athletes are different. I've been coaching with my husband, John Melnick, for a long time here, and we love what we do. I wouldn't trade it in for the world. This is what's crazy about tonight. Tonight is the first night in 29 years I'm not traveling to an Atlantic 10 cross country championship. So that is kind of like hard to accept, but it would always be this weekend, flying someplace, usually Virginia, to A10 cross. And but the women that have gone through the program and who are in the program now, it's like a blessing coaching, working with them. And I don't work all event groups. I don't take credit for everyone. We have so many different event groups, but you really get to know so many different personalities. I know Destiny's on this call. I know Deb, you competed. Deb Utesh is the Lehigh coach. She's on this call, and she competed for Lauren. Wendy Bucci might be on this call. She competed for Lauren Anderson. So it's just this like amazing process when you see someone their freshman year, and then when you see their fourth year or fifth year, just developing into these strong, amazing women who are going to lead in whatever they choose to do in their life. So I love every aspect of it. I wouldn't change it for the world. This is a beautiful part of the country that we live in. Rhode Island, Southern Rhode Island is gorgeous. The university is such a good university, and we have an amazing support. So like I said, I love doing what I'm doing, and then hopefully we'll continue on for at least another 10 years. I don't know. I am getting old, so, but it's just amazing. Thank you.
Excellent. That was great answers by both coaches. Thank you so much. We have some time for a couple more questions. So if you have any, please again drop them in the chat. I know a lot have just answered one in the chat, so we can you can check there too if you haven't gotten anything answered. I'm sure somebody has responded. But I did want to ask the student athletes one more question here, and it's kind of, how would you guys describe the culture of your programs? What makes it special to be a part of the women's rowing program here, or the women's track and field and cross country programs at the University of Rhode Island?
Coach Feit had talked about it a little bit earlier, and I would say the main thing that makes me happiest about the track team is how diverse we are. There's 50, 60 girls on the team, and every single girl has their own story to tell. We all come from different backgrounds, different ethnicities, different religions. And that's probably like my absolute favorite thing about the track and field team atmosphere and just how positive and uplifting everybody is every single day. They say when you like your job, it feels like you've never worked a day in your life. And I would probably say that with running and going to practice every day. It never feels like a burden. I'm always so happy to go in and see everybody.
Excellent. Excellent. Does anybody else want to answer that one too?
I can add something. I think my favorite part about being a part of a team at URI is just the atmosphere of competition and sort of camaraderie that I get every day at practice. Like one of my favorite feelings ever, and I think the reason that I do rowing and find so much joy in it is when you're in a really hard workout, a really hard piece, like let's say a 2K or 6K for those who understand rowing jargon. And your legs are really hurting, your arms are hurting, your lungs are burning, but you look over and you see the person next to you in the boat next to you or on the erg next to you pulling and putting it all out there, and you know that they have your back and you have their back. And it's just such an exciting feeling of competition, but yet knowing that everyone is working hard for a common goal.
That was excellent. I don't want to leave you guys hanging. If Katie or Lotta, if you do want to answer, feel free to respond, but don't feel obligated to. Katie, did you want to say something?
I just wanted to say, adding on to what Winslow said, I am originally, I never said this in my introduction, but I'm from Vero Beach, Florida. And so when Shayla said, hey, do you want to come up here and row for me for a little while? I was a little scared because I've never been that far away from home for so long, but this team made it happen. Every time I get up for practice, I feel like I'm at home. I never once got homesick, and I believe it's solely on the fact that this team felt like my family, and they still do every day. So I'm just really grateful for that still. So yeah.
And she likes the warm weather here.
It was warm
I love
today,
it.
that's for
I
sure.
love it. It's my favorite.
It's been a warm fall for all of us outside. Thank God. It's been helpful.
That's right. All righty. Well, again, that was excellent. Thank you all for answering those questions. I do. That's the time we have for questions tonight. So I'm going to kick it now over to Garrett Waller, who's going to speak for a couple minutes. Garrett, why don't you take it away?
Thanks, Zone. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's great to see so many of our supporters and our student athletes gathered together to do this. I know it's difficult with all the times we have on, but being able to reach out to people who I haven't seen in a while is great. I know I see Diane Sullivan, who is showing me some beautiful blue skies in the background before. Unlike us in the Northeast, we really could use that with all the snow we have going on. And I know Destiny Woodbury, I don't know if you're still on here, but I met you a couple of years ago at the State House when you received an award, and your career since you left here has been amazing to follow. So very proud to have you guys on here, and not to leave anybody out, but I just want to be brief and get through these comments. First, I want to thank everyone for their support earlier this month from our third annual Day of Giving. It was an unprecedented success for the university. We raised over $1.2 million in one day on 2,600 gifts. But the real story about this is that URI Athletics and most of the people on this call really helped the athletic department shine, as we raised over $345,000 on 1,300 gifts. That's the largest percentage of gifts for any department throughout the campaign on that day. And also half the gifts from the university for that day came into athletics, supporting all the wonderful student athletes you see on this call tonight. So it's just been great to be able to experience that, and we can't thank you enough. Just to give you a little idea about how you've personally impacted our programs, our women's track program saw a 79% increase in gifts this year to the Day of Giving, over $12,000 that in the past hadn't been possible. And some of those things that Coach Feit-Melnick can use them for are their spring trips and additional training and things that really have an impact on a student athlete's lives. Our women's rowing program again had an amazing year. They did over $31,000 from over 170 donors. So both of these totals are great turnouts, great growth for them year over year, and we hope to be able to continue that, and hopefully you'll play a big part of that. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the university's fundraising efforts. We're currently involved in a multi-year comprehensive capital campaign. The campaign goal is over $250 million, and we're currently raised $180 million of that. This includes all gifts to athletics. So if you do have the opportunity, we'd love to give us a call to develop a plan for you to support your kids, your fellow alums to make their programs better. So if you have the opportunity, please reach out to Jeff Bennett, the development officer, or I, or Nick Naradoe. We'd be delighted to talk to you and let you know a lot more things that are going on in a greater depth than we can right now on this call. But thank you again. We couldn't do it without you. The kids couldn't have the opportunities they do. The student athlete experience wouldn't be as great as it is. So thank you very much. And I'll throw it back to Stone now.
Thank you so much, Garrett. And again, very, very impressive from all of our donors and supporters at the University of Rhode Island. So thank you for chatting there. We do have one last thing that we want to do before we give the coaches an opportunity to say goodbye. And that's take a second. If you want to put something in the comments, wish these student athletes, their coaches, luck in their upcoming seasons. And just again, make a toast to safety, prosperity for these programs. Health is so important, I think now more than ever, granted the situation in our country and around the globe. So I do want to take a moment just to, if you have a drink, toast it up. If not, feel free to drop in the chat bubble some kind words, because this is, again, I think we all need it at this time, right? So let's take a moment and spread some positivity to one another. So yes, to health, prosperity, and to success for both these programs, student athletes and coaches alike. With that, I do want to kick it over finally to both coaches again to kind of close us out here and give us some final remarks.
Laurie, you want to go? You want me to go?
You can go first.
Okay. All right. Well, first, I just want to thank everyone. I thought this is the first Zoom Coaches Corner they did, and I thought, oh God, it's an hour. Can I talk for an hour? But I didn't have to do all the talking. And I know the athletes will say, yes, you can talk for an hour. So they're muted. But no, I want to thank everybody. I see so many parents on here, and some parents who I haven't met in person, so that's kind of cool, and friends of the program and alum, which it's so great to see them. So I want to thank everybody for coming on and supporting the Zoom call, and more importantly, just supporting the program. I just don't know where the program would be without everybody's support. So thank you for that. And as far as as we move forward, we're on a great track right now. I'm really excited. And I'm really excited to have Winslow back too. Emily Winslow, not Betsy. I'm excited to have Betsy back too, but I'm really excited to have Emily back. Emily is really has grown tremendously from her freshman year when she first sat in my office, and to where she is now. She's a different person. She's strong, she's fit, and I know that she's going to lead our program, and she has right behind her Katie Castle, a sophomore, younger, just as motivated. And I just think we have a young group, and there's no bones about it. Our goal is to win A10s. That's what we want to do. That's why we go out there every day, and we pound out those meters. And I think one thing with rowing is it rewards hard work. So if you put the hard work in, you're going to have the result. And I feel very fortunate. I feel like there's a lot of programs, and I'm sure this is probably the same with track. A lot of our A10 competitors aren't back at school. A lot of them are remote. And I keep saying that to my team every day, like, what? This is an opportunity for us. There aren't many programs. This is as close to normal in the rowing world as anywhere in the country. And I know a lot of coaches. We're coming down there every day. We're rowing every day. We're lifting. You're with your team, and it's going to pay off tenfold. So again, I'm really excited. No matter what happens, we're going to be ready. If we have one race and it's A10s, we're going to be ready. You're going to see that flash of a light blue come across the line. So I'm pretty pumped about it. And I hope you guys can make it down, especially some of the alums here. I know I'll see some parents and some alums if we get down there on the Cooper River, and hopefully we'll get that 8th championship. So anyway, thank you. And thank you, rowers, for doing this. You know, it's all because of them that I'm here, and they're really taking the ball and running with it. And I'm just so proud of what they're doing in such a time where it's, you know, we have to be flexible. You know, I'll give you one story with how has COVID affected the team. You know, I think being flexible, and I've always been a coach to say, okay, what do I have? You know, who do I have today? You know, and the other morning I got a call and somebody in one of the houses was sick, and it was just a cold, but protocol, there's lots of procedures, and there's 8 rowers in that house. And so what happens is that person has to get tested twice, and the roommates have to quarantine until or isolate until they get that second test back. So at 5 in the morning, I arrived to the boathouse and I have 15 rowers that can't row that day. And so I have to switch everything around. I have to switch all the lineups, and that's a lot. I have over 50 kids on the team. That's a lot to do on my phone, especially. Maybe for these guys it would be easy, but for me it was hard. But you know, we went out there with 15 athletes gone, and we went out there and we put out boats and we had an awesome practice. And I think the flexibility and the ability to kind of go with the flow has really worked in our favor. You know, and one thing for me is, you know, being prepared and being consistent as for leadership qualities is something that I always go by. And I think for these athletes, the motivation is the ability to move up and down according to what they put in. And, you know, that's motivation. I never look at who was the fastest last year. I care on who's the fastest this year. And so that mobility and what they put in over the year will put them where they are. And I think, to me, that's exciting. And I see a lot of young kids on the team, and I see some great leaders on the team. And like with Emily, with her 5th year and all of her experience, and being able to kind of lead the program, you know, so I'm really excited. So anyway, I won't go on because I know our time is tight, but thank you, thank you, thank you. And hopefully, parents, I'll get to see you at some spring races. Sorry, Laurie, I hope you weren't timing me.
No, I didn't time you. That was awesome. I mean, I think that what you said is so true about that. We also have to be so appreciative that we can practice right now, and all of our student athletes, because there are many institutions that aren't practicing. They're totally virtual learning. They're not even on campus. So we have to be thankful for what we have. We have to be thankful each day. And I don't know if you can see my little saying here, but we have to keep believing. Okay, maybe it's backwards because I'm not that technically inclined, but we need to just keep believing in the power of ourselves, believe in each individual on the team. And we have, like on this call, these are 4 amazing student athletes, just 4 amazing student athletes that are representing University of Rhode Island in the highest fashion. I mean, it's amazing. And they are going to continue to lead and do great things with the rest of their lives, and have friends on the team that will be friends for life. So we have a lot to look forward to. Lots of Black always reminds me, Coach, one day at a time, one day at a time. And now I have to keep reminding her, as well as Kelly, as well as everyone else, that we have to stay positive. We have to take it one day at a time. And as Shelagh said, we have to be flexible, because life is different, and it's important to have goals. There's no doubt about it, but we also have to be flexible because there's so much ambiguity and we don't have all the answers. But one day at a time, and we've got each other for support, and we have an amazing administration, and support from all of you on this call is huge, and we appreciate it. So thank you for taking the time to be on this call on a rainy day in Rhode Island for an hour plus, because now we're at 6:04 and I won't talk that long, but thank you so much, your continued support, and I will not retire before we get an outdoor track. That's my last sentence. Thank you.
All righty, well, that will conclude our program today. So thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you to the student athletes, the coaches for taking some time out of their evenings to spend it with us. To Garrett and Amy, thank you as well. And we look forward to seeing you guys around campus when it's safe, of course, and soon. But until then, wishing you health in the next couple months going forward. And go Rhody. We'll see you soon, everybody. Take care. Have a great night.